Hi, Andre here from the MSAG team. This video in our interview series covers a very common motivational question for medical school interviews. What negative qualities do you have? Let's explore how to answer this question in a reflective and intelligent manner. Timestamps in the description below.
Questions about your negative qualities or weaknesses are commonly asked at medical school interviews. Although discussing your bad qualities at interview may sound counterintuitive, a good answer to this question will allow you to show self-awareness, insight, and honesty. Guess what? These are all key skills that a doctor should possess. In fact, being able to recognize and work within the limits of your competence is part of the General Medical Council's duties of a doctor, making this an essential skill to demonstrate at your medical school interviews. Do you know what the duties of a doctor are? We recommend you do some extra reading on this subject after you've finished with this video. In addition to this, explaining how you've worked to overcome these negative qualities will show your commitment to personal development and lifelong learning. This fits in with another GMC document, Duty of a Doctor, which states that as a doctor, you must regularly take part in activities that maintain and develop your competence and performance. So, how can you show these skills and best answer this question? This topic will cover possible negative qualities to discuss in interviews, how to structure your answer to this type of question, a model example of an answer we expect at medical school interviews, and the common pitfalls when answering this question type. First of all, how do you choose which negative qualities to talk about? Are you disorganized, forgetful, or bad at public speaking? Would it be better to talk about being a perfectionist, a procrastinator, or a bad leader? The key is to choose something that you can give specific examples around. Examples make your answers not only interesting, but also real and believable. Anyone can say that they used to be bad at procrastinating, but now they are more focused and complete tasks earlier. But even if this fact is true, it doesn't give an examiner a great deal of information, and this alone wouldn't score a lot of marks. What examiners are looking for, however, is for you to answer questions such as, how did you find out this was a problem? What did you do to get better? And giving specific examples will make you stand out. So here is a step-by-step approach on answering this question. Step 1. Ensure your negative quality is actually negative. On your list of negative qualities, cross out qualities on your list which have never caused you a problem. Being a perfectionist, for example, is not a negative quality if it has only ever caused you to produce perfect work. However, if it has had a negative impact, such as delay in your submission of your work on time, then maybe this would be an appropriate quality to refer to. Let's think of another example. Perhaps you feel you are a poor delegator of tasks. This meant that when you were working as a team leader on a project, you ended up doing too much of the work yourself, and as a result, it was of poorer quality than if you had split it between the team. That is a real-life example of a negative quality which has had an impact on your performance. Step 2. Cross off any qualities that you haven't been improving. In order to keep qualities on your list, you need to give specific examples of what you have done to overcome them. Going back to our example on delegating tasks, perhaps since realizing this was a weakness when leading a team, you always take time to check the skill set of team members and identify who will do the best job at each task. Therefore, you now delegate tasks to each team member and check in on them as the project progresses. If you notice your own or someone else's workload becomes too much, you share these out between team members with a lighter workload. And finally, step 3. Consider what qualities the medical school is looking for in a doctor. The best answers to this question will end with a reflection on how improving this skill will make you a better doctor. From the remaining negative qualities on your list, which ones could you link back to medicine? For the delegating tasks example, you could talk about the importance of doctors working within multidisciplinary teams, for example. Be careful with this final point. Although you want to be able to link your answer back to medicine, make sure you don't start your answer by saying you're the opposite of what the medical school are looking for in an ideal candidate. For example, you would not want to open your answer by saying, I have no empathy, I'm bad at working in a team, or I have really bad communication skills. Therefore, choose something that is not an essential personality trait of a doctor, but is still useful. For example, public speaking abilities, Alternatively, you can pick something that is only a small part of an essential skill, like how delegating tasks is a small part of leadership. A question could either ask for a single or for multiple negative qualities, so to be safe, ensure you have at least 3 that you are prepared to talk about with examples. Now that you have chosen your negative qualities, we will consider how to structure your answer for maximum impact. This question asked, what negative qualities do you have and how do you overcome them? Similar questions could be worded to ask for weaknesses rather than negative qualities, or might not specifically ask for how you overcome these. Either way, the structure of your answer should be the same and always include what you have done to improve the negative qualities, even if it's not asked for. This part will make you seem reflective and highlight that you have the drive to enhance yourself. Overall, a good structure for this answer would be an introduction, explanation of your first negative quality, then how you overcome this, and a reflection back to medicine, followed by the same for your second negative quality, and then an overall conclusion. Although you should introduce both qualities in your introduction, it is best to then talk through each separately during the middle of your answer. Remember to reflect back to medicine for each quality that you describe. Let's take a look at an example introduction and how we would put it together. I'll be using the poor at public speaking and difficulties with delegating tasks as my negative qualities. An example introduction for my answer could be, most people don't like to talk about their negative qualities, but I know that as a doctor it is essential to recognise the limits of your competence and act to improve your skills. 2 negative qualities that I have been working on recently are my nerves around public speaking and my previous difficulty with delegating tasks when working as a team leader. So, what do you think? Would this introduction have scored high marks in your medical school interviews? The introduction should have an overall positive tone and should introduce both negative qualities you will be talking about. An excellent answer will also show insight into medicine and why this is an important topic to discuss. Next, use the STAR technique to explain how your first negative quality or weakness has had an impact on your life. Remember that if it hasn't, then it isn't really a negative quality. For example, while studying for my GCSEs, I realised that I was very nervous about doing presentations and speaking in public. In one of our biology classes, we did a group project which involved giving a presentation to the class. I was asked to present the results section, but because I was so nervous, I delivered it very fast and missed out key points. I felt like I let the team down, and I worried that it might have impacted everyone's marks. As a result, after this, I avoided presenting or speaking in front of groups, even if I knew I had a good point to make. Once you've described your negative quality, you need to explain how you overcame it. Remember that it is essential, even if the question does not specifically ask for it, as it will show you have the ability to appraise yourself and learn from your mistakes. Let's carry on with the same example. I realise public speaking is an important skill to develop, so it is something I have been working on improving. I asked my teacher for feedback on my presentation style, and she gave me some specific tips, like making eye contact with people in the room when speaking. I also joined the speech and drama club at school, where I've improved my confidence by being involved in performances. Although it is something that still makes me nervous, I now put myself forwards for presentations to gain experience and use it as a learning opportunity. I personally feel more confident speaking in front of a large group and have received very good feedback from teachers and members of my class. The final thing you must remember to do before you end the section on this negative quality is to reflect on how improving this skill will make you a better doctor. Let's discuss another example. I know from my work experience that doctors often have to give presentations to their colleagues. For example, when I was shadowing in paediatrics, every week a junior doctor presented a recent journal article. I know that doctors are also involved in teaching students, junior colleagues and the public. For these reasons, having good presentation skills is an important quality to have, and it is something I will continue to improve upon to be a good medical student and a doctor. Notice how I linked back to why having good presentation skills will make me a better doctor using a specific example from my work experience. I showed both insight into a career in medicine and that I am improving my skills to make me more suited to it. Remember that you don't want to repeat what you've already said. Let's give you an example of how you could end this answer. In conclusion, nerves when speaking publicly and struggling to delegate tasks are 2 negative qualities that I've identified in myself in the past. I have taken active steps to improve both of these as I've described and received positive feedback on my improvements. I know that being aware of the limits of my competence and working to improve my skills are key to being a good doctor, and I hope that I can continue to recognise my limitations and improve on them in the future. Now that you've heard how to structure an answer to this question, let's put it all together in an example answer. As you listen to the strong answer that I'm about to give to you, write down any positive elements that you can witness. What negative qualities do you have and how do you overcome them? Most people don't like to talk about their negative qualities, but I know that as a doctor it is essential to recognise the limits of your competence and act to improve your skills. Two negative qualities that I have been working on recently are my nerves around public speaking and my previous difficulty with delegating tasks when working as a team leader. While studying for my GCSEs, I realised that I was very nervous about doing presentations and speaking in public. For example, in one of our biology classes, we did a group project which involved giving a presentation to the class. I was asked to present the results section, but because I was so nervous, I delivered it very fast that I missed out key points. I felt like I had let the team down and I worried that it might have impacted everyone's marks. As a result, after this, I avoided presenting or speaking in front of groups, even if I knew I had a good point to make. I realised that this is an important skill, so it is something I've been working on improving. I asked my teacher for feedback on my presentation style and she gave me some specific tips like making eye contact with people in the room and speaking up. I also joined the speech and drama club at school where I have improved my confidence by being involved in performances. Although it is something that still makes me nervous, I now put myself forwards for presentations to gain experience and use it as a learning opportunity. I personally feel more confident speaking in front of a large group and have received very good feedback on my improvement from teachers and members of my class. I know from my work experience that doctors often have to give presentations to their colleagues. For example, when I was shadowing in paediatrics, every week a junior doctor presented a recent journal article to their team. I know doctors are often involved in teaching students, junior colleagues, and the public. For these reasons, I know that having good presentation skills is an important quality to have, and it is something I will continue to improve upon as a medical student and a doctor. A second negative quality that I've identified is a difficulty in delegating tasks. This became apparent while doing another group project at school where I was allocated as the team leader. I took on too much of the work myself, ending up with a significantly higher workload than the rest of the team, which I struggled to complete. As a result, the quality of the work was poorer than if I had delegated work appropriately at the start. Since recognising this as a weakness, I always start leading a team by taking time to check the skill set of team members to identify who is most suited to each task. Most importantly, I check in with the team regularly as the project progresses, and if I notice that my own or someone else's workload becomes too much, I discuss with the team whether we can share these out between team members with a lighter workload. I've seen the importance of this in medicine within the multidisciplinary team. Although a consultant may be leading a patient's care, they are surrounded by team members who might have a better skill set for certain tasks, perhaps other doctors or allied healthcare professionals. They need to be able to recognise their team members' skills and play to their strengths to ensure the most efficient care for their patients. In conclusion, nerves when speaking publicly and struggling to delegate tasks are two negative qualities that I have identified in myself in the past. I've taken active steps to improve both of these as I've described and received positive feedback on my improvements. I know that being aware of the limits of my competence and working to improve my skills are key to being a good doctor, and I hope that I can continue to recognise my limitations and improve on them in the future. How did my answer compare with your answer? Do you feel that this would score highly in an interview? We think that this is an ideal answer to give in at interview, as it has an appropriate introduction and conclusion and goes through the negative qualities systematically via the STAR approach. When writing your own answer, remember the positive elements from this example and adapt them for your own negative qualities. Now that you've heard a strong answer that would score highly at interview, let's briefly look at some of the common pitfalls when answering this question. The most obvious pitfall is saying, "I don't have any negative qualities." Yes, an interview is a time when you want to look your best and show off your positives, but remember, this question is about self-awareness, insight, honesty. Nobody is perfect, so a candidate who says this is being dishonest or is unaware of their limitations, neither of which of these are good qualities for a doctor. Another common pitfall is trying to pass off a positive quality as a negative one. For example, saying you are a perfectionist without having specific examples where this has been proved to be a negative on you. This is very similar to saying that you do not have any negative qualities. Consequently, you should follow the simple rule. If you cannot explain how it has had a negative impact on you or on others, then it does not count as a negative quality. Remember to go back through your list of negative qualities and cross off the ones that follow this pattern. Nevertheless, remember to choose balanced qualities. Do not say that you have a lack of any of the essential skills required to be a doctor, such as having no empathy. Even if you've picked an appropriate weakness, there are still traps to fall into. Remember to always talk about how you have taken steps to overcome your negative qualities and reflect it back to medicine. Hopefully you can see now that reflection is key to almost any interview question, and so always remember to include a reflection in your answer. This brings us to the end of this topic on medical school interview questions that ask about negative qualities. Well done for getting through. During this lesson, we have highlighted the importance of this type of question, how to choose a negative quality, and how to structure your answer to this question type. We've then gone through an example answer and discussed some common pitfalls which occur regularly in answers to this type of question. The key points to take away are when choosing your negative quality, make sure you can explain both why it is negative quality and what you have done to overcome it using specific examples. Choose something that you can relate back to medicine, but not the complete opposite of one of the essential skills of a good doctor. Structure your answers with an introduction, middle, and conclusion, talking through each quality separately. Finally, make sure you always include how you have improved and overcome the negative quality, even if the question has not asked for it, and reflect back on how this will make you a better doctor.
Thanks for watching. Did this video give you more insight into how to approach the negative qualities question? Would you like some advice on how to talk about a different negative quality? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, please leave a like, and if you want to see more medical school admissions content, then subscribe to our channel. We put out new videos every week. Best of luck on your admissions.